Hello everyone, as you can see from the sign I've just walked past, we are in the Misty Mountains in far north Queensland, and today we're going to be hiking to Cannibalen Falls, which is waterfall I've been wanting to go to for quite a while because it looks really impressive. It's a 13.6 kilometre return walk along the Cannibalen Creek track and another, I think, Coachable Creek track. It's a whole network of tracks out here. But that just takes you to the top of the falls, and from there I'm going to be finding a very rough, not that often used track that goes down to the base of the falls, and yes, hopefully having a successful mission down there. In my head I think it's one of the best waterfalls in Australia, so I'm really looking forward to it. But yeah, I'll show you the track as we go, and I'll see you in a bit. So this hike's sort of broken into 4 segments. Basically it's like 2.1 k's and we hit a campground and we turn off, then 2.5 k's hit another turn off, then 2.2 k's to the top of the falls, and then however long down to the base. So it's kind of handy, you can break it up into little bits, I suppose. The other thing is all the tracks have like triangle markers on them with different colours according to which track you're on, so if you take a wrong turn it's kind of easy enough to see because you can just look at what colour marker you're walking past. So I just took a photo of the map at the start of the track to refer back to. It's been a fairly undulating trail, pretty well made track, but a bit steep in places going up and down, which is not exactly what I was hoping for, but is what it is. Mostly descending so far. And yeah, I'll probably see you when we hit the Hinson Creek campground. Well, I've been going a pretty good clip it seems, because we've come to the campsite at Hinson Creek. Pretty small campsite. And our first creek crossing for the day. Shouldn't be too difficult, the creek's not exactly raging through. Another pretty little spot with a little cascade. Nice to camp here and have a little dip, I reckon. And there's a continuation of the trail. So barely 100 metres past the creek crossing, come to the first junction. All pretty obvious. Head right to the falls. This is pretty typical of the track, as it has been the last 20 minutes or so since I last filmed. It's been mostly flat, very easy. It's quite a sunny day out. I kind of hope it clouds over at the falls a bit, but we'll see how we go. It just is quite warm, which makes it fairly draining. So we've come to the second creek crossing, which is slightly bigger than the first and slightly more irritating because we're going to have to wade through here, and it's not shallow looking. I mean, it's fine, just we'll get a bit wet, which I was hoping to avoid. But yeah, give you an idea of what you're in for. Alrighty, at the last junction, 2.2 k's further to the falls, so the track goes off that way, but our track goes off to the left. It's all pretty clearly signed, you can't really miss it unless you're really not paying attention. Not far now. Well, after a hike of 2 hours, the majority of which was really easy, but then just the last bit there, after I last filmed, it actually became really steep. There's even like a rope on one of the parts, so you want to be pretty careful, and it was very slippery. But we're at the top of Cannibalen Falls. It looks spectacular. Flowing really well actually. I'll give you a bit of a look around. So up this way, you can kind of see up there is a small upper waterfall which we'll be able to dissect. That is where the track down to the base of the fall starts. Here's the creek. And then there is the brink of the falls. So I might try and cross the creek somewhere and then make our way right up to the top of the waterfall, although it does look like it's flowing very quickly. So we'll see how we go with that. Well, this is as close to the brink as we're going to get. Not really comfortable crossing that, but it's still a really nice view over the edge. Well, this is a surprisingly large and very pretty Upper Cannibal Falls. I really expected something smaller, and it had this little side cascade coming in as well. Quite nice. Now, apparently the track to the base starts about 30 metres back that way. So I think we're going to work our way across the creek, and then it should be in there somewhere. But I'll suss it out and then let you know. This is a nice spot in and of itself. Well, thanks to some eagle-eyed spotting from Sophie, we found the route across. So there's the upper falls, there's the lower falls, right across there, and see a little pink tag. So it's quite handy, it's kind of in the most obvious crossing point. So if you sort of go across the best way, you'll probably find it. Nowhere else looks particularly appealing to wade through, but this is alright. So yeah, we'll see you over there. Okay, on the other side now, the next tape, it's kind of hard to spot, but it basically heads slightly towards the upper falls, but mostly like away from the creek. Oh, and now that we've found it, we've got a nice little route underfoot, which hopefully will stay pretty easy to follow the whole way. The creek crossing was really hard. It's flowing very quickly. I wouldn't attempt it with any more water. It may actually be a better strategy to just wade through a deeper like pool, because the fast flowing sections are really fast. But yeah, we're climbing out of here and then descending in a little bit, I reckon. Well, we sort of had a bit of an unexpected and equally unwelcome climb to start with, just to get us out of the creek drainage. Thankfully the route, there's not been too many takes, but there's been enough, and as you can see, it's pretty obvious where to go. Enough people have slid their way up and down here. Very much hoping we're not climbing for much longer. We've just started to ascend now, and the track is far more obvious than this real knife edge of a ridge. You can just get a little glimpse into the gorge. I'm hoping the falls come into view pretty soon. It's kind of an interesting walk because it's really a very, very narrow section of land that's not cliff. I reckon it's going to get quite a bit steeper pretty soon. This is crazy narrow. Cliff basically there. Real cliff right there. And here's our little path. Pretty wild. First good view of Cannibal Falls. Absolutely spectacular. Looks like a massive free fall. All that way to go down still. Okay, so we've come to what I think is going to be probably the steepest bit. I don't know how well this camera shows it up, but that is really steep. Going straight down there. This vine here could probably be very handy to hold on to. So far it's just been a steady descent, but yeah, as it's sort of now turning left off that ridge, it's getting very steep. So at the bottom of that like vine sort of thing you hold on the way down, it's very steep. Sort of like the track keeps going straight down. I checked it out and it's too steep. It just turns left and sidles around these cliffs here and sort of heads upstream towards the waterfall. The tapes will disappear for a few seconds, but as you can see, they're back now. But yeah, just make sure you don't. Just keep going straight down. They're either taped just to the left at the bottom of the vines. And yeah, that's an indication of the direction you're meant to be going. Well, it was a serious mission, but we've made it down to the gorge below Cannibal Falls. They're still just slightly upstream. Got a nice little bush bash along the creek, but we should be there very soon, thank God. It's been quite a lengthy walk along the creek in the end, but getting very close now. Looks massive. A little bit to go. Oh my God, that was some hike. It's taken like 4 hours to get here, 2 hours since the top. Incredibly difficult terrain, but all worthwhile. What I think has got to be, besides Walman and Barron Falls, the best waterfall in North Queensland. Incredible spot. I'd say about 120 metre or so straight plunge, almost more impressive. It's just this gorge. Absolutely insane. Alrighty, so we're on the home stretch of track now. It ended up being a bit of a chaotic walk back because as we were leaving the falls, a huge thunderstorm started coming down. So we're very wet and we were slightly concerned about lightning strikes in the bush, but we have made it out. I'll live to tell a tale and put it on YouTube. Anyways, it's definitely a worthwhile walk, even though it's really, really hard. It took us 8.5 hours, probably 7.5 of which was walking time. But it's the third favourite waterfall in Australia that I've been to, so it's definitely worth the effort if you're up for it. But yeah, as always, thanks for sticking around to the end of the video, and I will see you at the next one we go to.